My name is Brett Wyatt. In 2021, my life changed forever. I was diagnosed with leukemia. Thanks to St. Jude, I'm able to tell my story. Everything happened so fast. I wasn't feeling well, so I went to the doctor, and they thought it was a virus. A week later, I still wasn't feeling any better. As we were heading back to the doctor, things took a turn very quickly when I told my mom that I could not feel my feet. When we arrived at the ER, I was given a blood test and immediately taken back for a CT scan. My white blood cell count was 865,000. For those of you who don't know, the normal range is between 4,000 and 11,000. When the doctors heard that number, they did not expect me to survive. My CT scan showed that I had experienced an extensive hemorrhage in the memory center of my brain. They made plans to transfer me to Le Bonheur in Memphis. When I arrived, I was immediately surrounded by an entire team of doctors. Two of those doctors told my mom that they were from St. Jude. They said I had leukemia, a blood cancer. The doctors described my blood being like sludge. It was wreaking havoc on almost every organ. I was in the pediatric ICU for 19 days. I spent half of that time in a medically induced coma.
Hold your head up, Brett. I know it's hard work.
During my time at Le Bonheur, St. Jude doctors came and implemented a cancer treatment plan. When I was finally stable enough, I was transferred to St. Jude. At that time, they knew I was completely blind. Blood had filled the vitreous, the jelly part of my eyes. In the coming months, I had successful surgeries to restore my vision. I burst into tears with pure joy when the first patch was taken off, and I realized my vision was back. But when I relapsed, it was stolen again. I permanently lost vision in one eye, and very little was spared in the other. I am legally blind and have no peripheral vision at all. It was determined that a bone marrow transplant was necessary to save my life. St. Jude began working immediately to find a match. Finding a 100% bone marrow match is extremely difficult. Miraculously, we found out that my brother Bond was a 100% match to be my bone marrow donor. Now that I had a match, the next step was getting my leukemia under control. Radiation was the last resort to prepare my body for transplant. The chemotherapy treatments alone were not working. They were running out of options. I received total body irradiation. I also had radiation targeted to my brain, spine, and orbits. I had my transplant on August 13th, 2021. It was a very difficult 30 days following my transplant. I wasn't able to leave my floor of the hospital, but I had plenty of visits from all my doctors and nurses. After that time passed, St. Jude provided my family an apartment at Target House, as I spent the remainder of my 100 days from transplant in Memphis. We took daily trips back to the hospital for appointments. I was sent home 320 days from the beginning of my journey. That was followed by weekly trips to St. Jude. People come to St. Jude from all over the world. They are known for their cutting-edge treatments. What everyone may not know is how they care for their patients. I witnessed this firsthand throughout my time at St. Jude. I knew they cared about me and were doing everything they could to help me get better. One way they go above and beyond is by providing music therapy.
Little darling, it seems like years since it's been your right hand. Nice. And then back to the squishy. Here comes the sun.
It is said that music heals the wounds that medicine cannot touch. St. Jude recognizes that healing is more than just medicine and treatments. Music was a big part of my recovery and boosting my spirits while I spent almost a year in the hospital. My music therapist comforted me during the most challenging time of my life. As my brain was healing, I struggled to speak. I had trouble putting words together, but I could sing. I could remember lyrics, even though I couldn't remember what happened 5 minutes before. No matter what had happened that day, I was always excited for my music therapist to come in. We would play instruments, sing together, or they would sing to me during my hardest days. On my birthday, my nurses and doctors came in to sing happy birthday. They followed it up with one of my favorite songs. Spending your birthday in the hospital can be hard, but they did everything they could to make me feel special. They helped me celebrate every milestone along the way. Due to my brain bleed, I spent a lot of time with physical, occupational, and speech therapists. During my hospital stay, I was completely isolated from my family and friends. My therapists became my friends. They would push me to work hard, but knew how to have fun. We would laugh a lot, and therapy was something I looked forward to. I knew it was more than just a job for them. When I arrived at St. Jude, I struggled to hold my head up. With their tireless efforts, I made huge improvements over my time there. I was in the middle of my 7th grade year when I got to St. Jude. They have their own school. I was too sick to leave my room, so my teachers would come to me. My vision loss and memory deficits made school challenging. My teachers worked hard to make things accessible for me. Another big part of my recovery was the support I received from West Tennessee. I lived my whole life close to Jackson, and there were so many people that reached out, that stepped up for me and my family during that time. Many of you in this room were a part of that. Thank you. I am currently a sophomore in high school. I was in the chorus at my school this fall and practiced with the cross-country team this summer. I attend church and I love my youth group. I love to spend time with my puppy, Georgia. I continue follow-ups at St. Jude. I am now at the 3-year mark from my diagnosis. St. Jude doesn't just help you survive. They continue to follow you after the initial cancer cells are gone. They want to ensure your full recovery. We have been a part of Lights, Camera, Fashion since the beginning of my journey. That April, my mom was asked to speak. When I heard about the opportunity to help raise money for St. Jude, I said, "Mom, you have to do it. St. Jude saved my life." This year, it was my turn to speak. Lights, Camera, Fashion is working hard to do their part to support St. Jude and to help families going through the most difficult part of their lives. In the same way this community stepped in for us, I'm asking you to step up and support the place that saved my life. Please donate tonight.